There was a woman named Miriam who had spent the past year and a half in what she believed was a serious relationship moving toward marriage with a man named Kareem. They had met through mutual friends, had gotten to know each other in ways that maintained Islamic boundaries, always in public spaces or with others present. Conversations that were meaningful but appropriate, building toward a future they both said they wanted. Kareem had spoken often about eventually approaching Miriam's family with a formal proposal, about the life they would build together, about the children they would raise with strong faith and values, but eventually had stretched from months into over a year, and Miriam was beginning to feel the weight of uncertainty pressing on her. She was 30 years old, had been patient and trusting, but was starting to wonder if Kareem's words about marriage were sincere intentions or just comfortable promises that kept her waiting without commitment. Her family had started asking questions. Her friends were beginning to suggest she deserved more clarity, and Miriam herself was caught between hope and the growing fear that she was being strung along. What Miriam didn't know as she went about her day on this particular Tuesday was that today, this very day, Kareem was sitting down with his family for a conversation about her that would expose the truth of his intentions. What he said to them, and more importantly what he called her, would reveal everything about how he truly viewed her and whether the future he had been promising was real or just words to keep her engaged without genuine commitment. But to understand the full impact of what Kareem would say to his family today, we need to understand the journey that led to this moment. Kareem was 33 years old, had built a successful career as an engineer, and had been raised in a family with high expectations. His parents, particularly his mother, had very specific ideas about the kind of woman he should marry, someone from their same cultural background, someone whose family had the right social standing, someone young enough to give them multiple grandchildren, someone who would fit seamlessly into their extended family without challenging their traditions or expectations. When Kareem met Miriam 18 months ago, he had been genuinely interested. She was intelligent, beautiful, had strong faith, and shared his values about raising children and building a home centered on Islam. But there were complications from his family's perspective. Miriam came from a different cultural background than Kareem's family. She was already 30, which his mother considered too old, and she had been married briefly in her early 20s. A marriage that had ended in divorce after only a year when her ex-husband proved to be abusive. Kareem had known from the beginning that his family would have objections to Miriam, but he had convinced himself he would eventually be able to win them over, that if he just waited for the right time, the right circumstances, he could present Miriam in a way that would make his family accept her. So he had kept the relationship going while avoiding the difficult conversation with his family, making promises to Miriam about marriage while not taking concrete steps to make it happen. This morning, Kareem's mother had called him and asked him to come to the family home for dinner. "We need to talk about your future," she had said in a tone that made clear this wasn't optional. "You're 33 years old and still not married. We've been patient, but it's time to get serious. We've found several excellent prospects for you. Good families, good girls. You need to choose one and settle down." Kareem had known this confrontation was coming eventually. He could no longer avoid making a decision. Either he stood up for Miriam, telling his family he had already found the woman he wanted to marry and that he needed them to respect his choice, or he backed down, accepting their choices and ending his relationship with Miriam. The dinner conversation started pleasantly enough, with his parents and two sisters making small talk. But after the meal, his mother got down to business. So, Kareem, we've prepared profiles of 3 women we think would be perfect for you. All from good families, all the right age, all raised with proper values. It's time for you to choose and move forward with your life. Kareem took a deep breath. This was the moment. Actually, Mother, I need to tell you something. There is someone I've been getting to know for the past year and a half. Her name is Miriam, and I would like your permission to approach her family with a marriage proposal. The room went silent. His mother's face darkened. Year and a half? You've been hiding a relationship from us for a year and a half. I wasn't hiding it exactly, Kareem said, though he knew that was exactly what he had been doing. I wanted to be sure before I brought it to the family. Tell us about her, his father said calmly. Background, family, age. Kareem provided the basic information, watching his family's expressions grow more disapproving with each detail he shared. When he mentioned Miriam's age and her previous marriage, his mother actually gasped. Absolutely not, she said firmly. You will not marry a divorced woman who's already 30. What will people say? What kind of start of married life is that? And from a different cultural background? She won't fit into this family. I forbid it. Mother, those are superficial concerns, Kareem argued, though his voice lacked conviction. What matters is her character and faith, and she is both in abundance. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, married Khadijah, who was older than him and had been married before. Age and previous marriage don't disqualify someone for being a good wife. His sister Amira spoke up. Kareem, if this woman is so important to you, why have you waited 18 months to tell us about her? If you were truly committed, you would have approached her family properly long ago. The fact that you've kept her waiting this long without making it official suggests you have doubts yourself. The accusation stung because it was true. Kareem did have doubts, not about Miriam's worthiness, but about his own courage to stand up to his family's expectations. The conversation continued for another hour, with Kareem's family laying out all their objections and Kareem defending Miriam weakly, his resolve crumbling under the pressure of family disapproval. Finally, his mother played her final card. If you marry this woman against our wishes, you will break my heart. I won't be able to attend the wedding. I won't be able to accept her as my daughter-in-law. You'll be choosing a stranger over your own mother who raised you and sacrificed everything for you. Is that really what you want? Kareem felt himself breaking. He had always been close to his mother, had never seriously defied her in anything important. The thought of causing her such pain, of damaging his family relationships, felt unbearable. In that moment of weakness, Kareem made a choice that would reveal his true character. He said something about Miriam that would expose exactly how he had been viewing her all along. You're right, he said quietly, feeling the words like poison in his mouth, but unable to stop himself. She's just a situation I got myself into without thinking clearly. I'll end it. His sister Amira, who had been watching this entire conversation with growing disgust, spoke up sharply. Did you just call her a situation? This woman you've been leading on for 18 months? This woman who's been waiting for you to make an honorable commitment? That's how you describe her to your family. Kareem felt shame wash over him, but the words were out. His family nodded approvingly, his mother looking relieved that her son had come to his senses. But Amira wasn't finished. I can't believe what I'm hearing. Kareem, you're a coward. You spent 18 months letting this woman believe you were serious about her while you were too afraid to stand up to Mother. And now you're calling her a situation like she's some problem you need to solve rather than a human being whose time and heart you've been wasting. This is disgusting. Amira, stay out of this, their mother snapped. Kareem made a mistake by getting involved with an unsuitable woman. He's doing the right thing by ending it before it goes further. But Amira stood up, her face flushed with anger. No, he's doing the cowardly thing. If he genuinely believed Miriam wasn't right for him, that would be one thing. But he clearly thinks she is right for him. He's been with her for a year and a half. He's just too weak to stand up for what he wants when it contradicts what you want, mother. And this poor woman is going to be the one who pays the price for his weakness. Amira turned to Kareem directly. You need to tell her the truth. You need to tell her that you called her a situation to your family, that you're ending things not because she isn't good enough, but because you aren't strong enough. She deserves at least that much honesty after you've wasted 18 months of her life. What none of them knew in that moment was that God, in his perfect timing and perfect justice, had arranged for Miriam to discover the truth of what Kareem had said about her in a way that would protect her from further harm. Amira, after leaving the family dinner in disgust, felt compelled by her conscience to do something she knew would anger her family, but which she believed was the right thing. She found Miriam's contact information through Kareem's phone and sent her a message explaining everything that had been said in the family meeting. Not to cause drama, but because she felt Miriam deserved to know the truth. When Miriam read Amira's message detailing how Kareem had called her a situation to his family, how he had caved immediately to their pressure, how he'd been stringing her along for 18 months without the courage to make a real commitment, she felt a mixture of devastating pain and clarifying anger. For 18 months, she had been patient, trusting, believing Kareem's promises while he was too cowardly to even tell his family about her. And when forced to finally speak about her, he had reduced her to a situation. Not a woman he loved and respected, not someone he wanted to build a life with, but a problem he needed to resolve. Miriam spent that night in prayer, crying and asking God for strength. God, I gave this man 18 months of my life, believed his promises, waited with patience and dignity. And this is how he saw me all along. As a situation, not as a person. Please help me understand why you allowed this to happen. Please heal my heart and guide me forward. The next morning, before Kareem could contact her with whatever excuse he had prepared, Miriam sent him a message. Your sister told me about yesterday's conversation with your family. I know you call me a situation. I know you've been too cowardly to stand up for me or make a real commitment. I'm ending this relationship not because I'm angry, though I am, but because I finally see the truth of who you are. You're a weak man who makes promises he has no intention of keeping, who lets others dictate his life because he's too afraid of disappointing them. I deserve someone who sees me as a blessing, not a situation. I deserve someone who would be proud to introduce me to his family and defend me if they objected. I hope someday you find the courage to be that person for someone, but I won't wait around to see if that day ever comes. I'm blocking you after this. Please don't try to contact me. When Kareem read this message, he felt the full weight of what he had done. He tried to call Miriam, but she had already blocked him. He tried to explain to Amira that he had made a mistake, that he wanted to fix things, but Amira told him bluntly, you had 18 months to fix things. You chose to be weak when it mattered, live with the consequences. 3 months later, Kareem heard through mutual friends that Miriam had been approached by a man from her mosque, a widower with 2 young children who had lost his wife to illness. This man had seen Miriam's character through her volunteer work with children at the mosque, had approached her father properly, and immediately had been honest about his situation and his intentions. When his family raised concerns about Miriam being divorced, he had shut them down immediately, saying her past was her past, and what mattered was her present character and faith. Miriam married this man 4 months after meeting him. A proper, halal courtship with clear intentions and immediate commitment. The man treated her like the blessing she was, introduced her proudly to his family, and gave her the respect and certainty that Kareem had denied her for 18 months. When Kareem heard about Miriam's marriage, he felt the full weight of what he had lost. He had called her a situation and ended up losing the woman who might have been his greatest blessing. The irony was crushing. Years later, Amira would tell this story as a cautionary tale to young men in their community who were being pressured by families to reject women for superficial reasons. My brother called a good woman a situation when talking to our family, she would say. He reduced a human being with feelings and dignity to a problem to be solved. And God responded by removing that blessing from his life and giving it to someone who recognized her value. Today, your person might be talking about you with their family. What they say in that conversation will reveal who they truly are. Do they defend you and stand up for their choice? Or do they call you a situation and cave to pressure? That conversation happening today, right now, is determining your future. And God is listening to every word. This is the truth. Today, your person may be talking about you with their family. What they say, whether they call you a blessing or a situation, whether they stand up for you or cave to pressure, whether they honor you or reduce you, will reveal everything about their character and whether they deserve you. God sees that conversation. He hears every word, and he will respond accordingly, protecting you from those who don't recognize your value and guiding you toward those who do. Trust that if they can't defend you to their family today, they were never strong enough to be your life partner anyway. And God's protection often looks like closed doors that hurt in the moment, but save you from greater pain later.